Tracy Bloom.
Good morning.
Welcome to the Romaniacs Sparkle Spotlight.
Good to be here.
And please just tell us what you're working on at the moment.
Well, I'm just in the process of launching my 5th book, which I can't quite believe, and it's called Strictly My Husband. So there's a bit of a dancing theme going on there. So part of the marketing stuff behind it is me and my husband are trying to learn the Argentinian tango, which is dire. So hard. And the worst thing is my husband's better than me. So I'm doing all sorts of bits and pieces behind getting ready to promote Strictly My Husband.
Right, it's probably a Bruce thing.
Yeah, Bruce is like good at it.
Yeah.
He's good at it.
But you would be, wouldn't you? What started you off as a writer? What inspired you?
I think I've always loved, I'm not one of these that wrote when I was 6 years old. I didn't do a literature degree, anything like that, but I've always loved words. And my background is marketing, and I think I loved the words part of that. And what really kicked me into starting was lucky enough that my husband got posted to the States for 3 years. And I went with him, which was good. But it meant that I just had a baby, so I'd left my job, and I thought, right, now's my chance. That I've always wanted to write a book, and if I don't do it now, I never will. So I started writing when we moved to America, and I used to write for 2 hours a day when my son slept, and that was the start of it.
Fantastic. So, top tip, what would you tell us?
Top tip, I think, for me, I had a breakthrough when somebody said, when you're writing, don't look back. And I had a tendency to edit while I was writing and trying to get that first draft down. Push through, don't look back, because you look back and you go, this is rubbish. And it isn't, because you'll go back at some point and you will be able to improve it, but it won't be rubbish. So just keep pushing through, don't look back till you get to the end, leave it alone, and then start editing.
Fantastic, thank you very much, Tracy. And we're welcoming a very, very busy Jan Jones this morning to the Romaniacs Sparkle. Thank you for all your hard work. Thank you for fitting us in this morning.
That's quite all right. I'm glad you managed to set yourself up.
Would you like to tell us what you're working on at the moment?
What am I working on at the moment? Yes, I've just got my... I wrote 3 Regencies quite a while ago. They were published by Hale, and so they went most into libraries. But I've got now that Hale have very sadly collapsed. I've got the rights back. So I'm going to self-publish them on Kindle. And so at the moment, I'm updating my Regencies, revisiting all my lovely heroes and heroines, and thoroughly enjoying it. So they'll be out after the conference.
Oh, wow.
I've got the covers
So we can look forward to.
Covers are beautiful.
Excellent. And what started you off in the beginning?
Well, I've always been a storyteller. It never occurred, when I was 5 years old, I was writing stories and exercise books. But actually it was so much quicker to tell the stories than to write them down. I didn't actually then write them down for a very long time. But I've always loved reading, and I've actually always written. I know everybody says that, but I always have. But it wasn't really until I think I suddenly, when I was actually quite grown up, I suddenly thought, actually, people do write these books that I read, so why don't I have a go at writing them? So I did. And then I discovered the Romantic Novelists Association, which has been just the best thing, and I'm sure I wouldn't have actually published had it not been for the RNA.
When did you join the RNA?
When did I join the RNA? Oh, that was a very long time ago. Let me see, my son is now 30, so it would have been about 30 years ago probably, because I started writing while he was in, as soon as I got him into playgroup, I had 2 spare hours every morning, and I wrote then. So I wrote the book first, and then I joined, and then discovered the New Writers Scheme, which was terrific. So it's a very good start.
Great.
Yes.
Top tip from all those years?
Top tip from all those years, never give up. Never give up. Always believe in yourself. And for a long time, I didn't have the right voice that appealed to anybody else. But eventually, you will find somebody that believes in your voice. What I did to begin with, I wrote books, and then as I got less and less time, as the family grew, I then went down to short stories for magazines, the odd poetry. I hadn't quite got down to greetings cards before I got more time, and I was able to work my way back up again. So keep trying different genres till you find your voice, and never, ever, ever give up. So that's it.
Thank you, Jan Jo. welcome to the Romaniacs Sparkle, and you write as Fenella Forster. So welcome Denise and Fenella. Would you like to talk us through what you're working on at the moment?
Yes, at the moment I'm working on a book actually called The Lives of Handsome Men, which I think is a fantastic title, and an editor said, you don't need to write the book, it's all in the title. But I have had my second book of a trilogy published this year. The first one I did a sparkle, and it was Annie's story. So number 2 is Juliet's story. She's the granddaughter of Annie. And so this one's set in the present. She goes off to Australia to follow in her grandparents' footsteps, but she has a big dark secret that she needs to get to Australia. She thinks that everything's going to be discovered. And then I've just finished Kitty's story, and Kitty is Annie's daughter, and Kitty goes back into 1941. It's not a chronological trilogy, and it's set in mostly in Cairo, 1941, so it's a bit of a hotbed there in that particular time. And I really, enjoyed writing that one. And I'm now writing a book about Bernardos in the Second World War, so I've got, a lot going on at the moment.
Yeah.
So it's all terribly exciting.
Where did you begin? What started you off being a writer? What inspired you?
When I was 8, and I was Enid Blyton fan, probably her biggest fan. And I used to have a serial that mine was chosen to go on the notice board, and I used to see the little children reading it. What's going to happen next? And I said, well, it'll be next week. And I said, oh God, I've got to make it. I didn't say God because I didn't know. But
Gosh, probably, if you've been reading
it. Golly.
Yeah.
And so I get another instalment, and then that would go on the notice board. I've just always loved writing, articles, short stories, but I didn't start novels till about 10 years ago, and I should have started much earlier, but I never thought I was clever enough to write a novel, because only really, really clever people could do that.
That might actually be part of your top tip then. What's your top tip for writers?
My top tip is just really have faith in yourself. If you really, really, really want to write, and you want to write a novel or a film script or a short story or whatever, and don't be put off when people say, it's not quite right for us or anything, because it might not be quite right for them, but it might be absolutely perfect for somebody else. So you must not give up ever. Rejections, you get cross, angry for a minute, that's all you're allowed, and then you get stuck into your writing again.
Thank you very much, Denise.